Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to show you guys step by step how to make a smartwatch, an Apple smartwatch, in Blender. And you can actually see here I'm going to be providing a starter file that comes with these references here. So if I just enable the extras, you can see here we have these nice handy front, side and left references that I'm going to be providing. It's all going to be in the description. I'll explain that in a second. So you have, you can follow along step by step. We're going to be nice and precise here, nice and accurate. Like the watch is going to be all exactly the same as the reference. We're just going to do our own kind of simple strap. And just real quick, if you ever want to take your Blender skills further and you want some high quality courses, you can look in the description below, and you can actually use my link to get 1 month of free Skillshare, all in the description below. And you can even check out, once you do that, some of my courses. They're all Blender at the moment, and they take you step by step from making some really awesome projects, and it comes with all of the files and resources, and it's just really cool. So far I've had hundreds of students and the feedback has been fantastic. So in the description below, and let's get started with this tutorial. So what you're going to do is you're going to look in the description below, and I have a link to my Gumroad page where I have this Apple Watch starter file where I've just set things up kind of ready for us to go. You can put in here $0 and then download the zip folder. Once you have the zip folder, it's going to look like this. You're just going to extract it on your computer somewhere. And then inside that extracted zip, you're going to see an Apple Watch reference file. You're just going to click on that and open it up, and then we can get started. Now inside of here, I've set things up. We have a collection with a cube, and then we just have these references. So we have the left ortho and the front and right orthographic references here that we can turn on and off. So let's start by turning off the left ortho for now. And we're going to make sure we have this cube selected. And with the default cube active, we're going to tab into edit mode, and we're just going to start by selecting everything in the edit mode. We're going to go S to scale it down, and we're going to scale it in the front ortho until it is as wide as kind of like the rim of this watch. You can see here we have the black screen, then it starts here touching, and then we have this rim going out and it goes to here. So we want to make it that same width as that rim. And once we have that done, we're going to go SZ and scale it on the Z and bring it up till it's touching the rim over here on the top. So kind of look at this lip. You can see on the side here, it's kind of like this border here, this lip over here that we're trying to make, okay? So we're then going to go into our right orthographic view. In our right orthographic view, we're going to grab all of these front verts. We're going to go G, Y, move them back till they touch this face over here. So moving them back onto Y, make sure it's all nicely lined up. And let's grab this, this face at the back, and then go X and delete those verts. And now we have this. So let's go back to our front. We're now going to select everything, and then we're going to go Control Shift B. So Control Shift B or Command Shift B. We're going to create a bevel on these verts. And once we have it about here, we're going to roll our middle mouse button, and we're going to roll in, let's go with about this many, and we're going to just move our mouse till it's perfectly on that border there like this. So now we've given it a nice bevel. And with that done, we're going to press A to select the whole thing. And then in our front view, let's go into wireframe and let's go I to inset. So pressing I, we're going to insert that face, and we're going to insert it till it matches the reference like so. So this is going to be the screen. And while we're at it, we're just going to hit P, and we're going to separate by selection. So if you go back into object mode, this screen is now its own separate object. So let's just select the border here. And from here we can continue. So let's just actually go to our edge select option, Shift Alt, left click on this edge. And then from here, we're going to go into our right orthographic view. And in our right orthographic view, we're going to go E to extrude and E, and we're going to extrude it along to match the reference here like so. Let's go over to our modifiers. Let's give this a subdivision surface modifier. And now you can see it's rounding that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, Control R, left click once and just slide in an edge. Control R, left click once and slide in an edge over here. And now we can continue. So let's select this edge again over here. In our right orthographic view, we're going to go E to extrude and Y, move it back, and then S to scale it a little bit. And then once again, we're going to go E to extrude and Y. Let's take it to the middle. We can see this blue line here. Let's go S to scale it up. And let's go E again, Y, and let's just assume, because over here we can't really see the reference that well. So let's just kind of estimate what is behind this handle. E to extrude and Y, let's scale it down again by pressing S, and then E to extrude one more time, all the way to the reference, and then scale it down to match. So you might have to just come in here in some places, Control R, double click, S to scale, just to add in some extra topology and scale it up, just to have it matching the reference. Maybe over here, S to scale it a bit. But I think that's looking okay. So I'm going to tab back out. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go shade smooth. And because we have the subdivision surface modifier, you can see it's looking a lot smoother as well. So there is the body of the watch. Now, obviously we're going to do a few more things. And I think for now, let's just actually select this edge. And then with this edge selected, we're going to press F just to fill this. And then we're going to press I just to inset it and to add some more topology and kind of fix that weird shading. I'm going to just press I one more time. I think something like that's looking pretty cool. So I'm going to tab back out, and before we go too far, let's actually start working on this little side component. So let's go Shift A. Let's add in a circle, and let's tab into edit mode. And with the circle selected, we're going to go RX90. We're going to hit enter, and this is, I think that might be the wrong direction. Let's just now go RZ90, so RZ90. So it's rotated 90 degrees like this now. And in edit mode, we're going to go G, X, and move it over to where this bit is here. I'm going to go to my vertex option for now, just to see it a bit better. Then I'm going to go S, I'm going to scale this down a bit. Then let's go into our right orthographic view, and over here we can see it needs to be a lot smaller. So let's just go S, and let's scale that till it's the same width as this reference here. And I'm going to go G, Z, and move it up till it matches the reference. You can see this round bit here, and in the front, you can see over here we need to go G, and go X and move it over till it matches the reference, so right over here. And then what we're going to do is in our right view, we're just going to select half of these verts, so like this. We're going to go E to extrude and Z and extrude them down to match the reference. Now we have all of these extra bits in the inside, don't worry about that. We're just going to select all of these verts in the inside like so and go X and delete those verts. And now we only have the edges. So now what we have to do is go into our front view. With all of this selected, we're going to go E to extrude and X, only about this much, and then E to extrude and X, a little bit, and then S to scale, E to extrude X, S to scale again, trying to match that reference, and let's now see what we have here. Okay, we might have to now go GY or GX and move that in so it's actually merged with this object here, and this is go S, Y, and scale it a bit on the Y. Just bring it in on the X a little bit more. So this is the tricky bit sometimes, just trying to get that exactly with the reference. You might have to scale that up. Make sure it's not sticking out anywhere if you can help it. So let's look at the side reference. Maybe, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit finicky, but if you have to as well, make sure to add in some extra topology where you can. I might scale this down a bit. Okay, how's that looking? Okay, so that's looking good. Let's give this a subdivision surface modifier. And let's just come in here, Control R, double click, Control R, double click to add two edges. And then just select these two new edges along here like so. Let's just go Control B to create a bevel. And let's just create about this many bevels. You can roll your middle mouse button to add more in. So let's go something like this. And then let's select this edge over here, and let's just go E to extrude, S to scale, and then scale it on the Y just a little bit. And then press F to fill that face, and then go I to inset it. And then you're going to press A to select everything, go Alt N, and let's just go recalculate outside just to fix those normal issues we created there. And now we have this. Let's just tab out. Let's right click and go Shade Smooth. And let's actually come here to the subdivision and bump it up to 2. And let's just make sure we haven't missed anything so far, because we are going to use a Boolean operation after this. So that all looks okay. So let's go ahead now and apply the subdivision surface modifier. And let's select the body of our watch here. Let's bump that up to 2, and let's give that, apply that subdivision surface modifier. So now we're going to take this. We're going to hold in Shift and select the watch body and go Control J to join it. So now if we tab into edit mode, we've got this one object. So looking at this now, I probably want to clean up this topology a little bit. I thought it didn't bother me, but now looking at it, it's quite bad. So I'm just going to select this middle vertex, and I'm going to go Control plus or Command plus, depending on what you're using, and just grow the selection till you have all of these inner verts selected. Press X and then delete them. And let's just go Shift Alt left click and select this loop over here, running around, and then you should be able to go Shift or Control F, sorry, go Control F, and then you should be able to go Grid Fill. And then you can come down here to the Grid Fill option, and you can mess around with the offset and the span over here. It might be different for you, so play around with it till you get something that looks right, so the direction matches up. So for me, it's this. It might not be the same for you, but that's optional. I just want to clean up the topology a little bit. And the same at the back here. I'm just going to select the middle vertex, grow it, and delete. And then just select these and then go Control F, Grid Fill. And once again, the span and the values here are going to be different for you. Just try it out. So that's what works for me. So there I have a nice straight grid, and that's just looking a little bit neater. So I'm going to tab back out. And what we're going to do now, in our front view, we're going to go Shift A. We're going to add in a cylinder. Let's go here to our add cylinder settings. Let's make that 64. It's really important. And then let's go RY90 and press enter. S to scale it down, and let's move it over here to the side, and we're gonna just scale it down so it's roughly the size of this dial over here. Then we're gonna go to our right orthographic view, and we're gonna try and match it up over here with our reference. So in my case, I'm gonna have to scale that up a little bit more, because remember, we're not trying to make the dial so much at the moment, it's just the cavity that it's sitting in. So it needs to be a little bit bigger than this little dial here on the sides. Let's go with something like that. Maybe move it down on the Z a little bit. Okay, that's looking good. And what we're going to do now, we're going to tab into edit mode, and let's just select these verts over here, and let's go Control B to bevel, and then roll the middle mouse button just kind of to create something like this. We're going to go G, X, and move it in till it kind of sits about here. And what we're trying to do is kind of make this little I don't know, little divot or this little inset that goes in like this. So you're going to have to look at the reference. I might flatten it a little bit on the X by going S, X, and that looks about right. That looks like what we kind of see on our reference. Might scale it up just a little bit. And now we have a Boolean cutter. So we're going to tab back out. We're going to select our watch, and we're going to go give it a Boolean modifier. We're going to click on a little eyedropper, now select this cutter object. And let's come to the drop down and apply that. And now we can grab this, and we can go, instead of deleting it, let's just go S to scale it down a little bit. And let's tab back in. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to select all of these verts here. We're going to go X and delete the faces. And now let's just select these edges here and go F just to give that a fill. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try and match this up. So let's go G, Y, or G, GX, and move in this face till it matches the reference. So we're making this little turn dial here. Then we're going to go G, X, and move it in like so into the watch body. And now we're going to go Control B and just give that a bevel in here like so. And maybe flatten it a little bit on the X, just making the inner part like so. And let's select this face over here. And once again, we want to make sure we're looking at our reference. We're going to go Control B and give that a bevel as well, till we kind of match our reference here. Now it's really important. And now this is what we have. So for now, let's just go Control A and just apply to scale in object mode. Let's right click and go Shade Smooth. And it's looking okay, but without those little grooves in here, it doesn't really match our reference very well. So we want to kind of fix that. So with this selected, let's go Shift S and let's go cursor to selected. Then we're going to go Shift A. We're going to add in an empty. So let's go with the cube. And let's now go Shift A. Let's add in a cube. And then we're going to go tab into edit mode of the cube, S to scale. And we're in our front orthographic. And then let's go into our right orthographic. And let's go G, Y, and move it here. We're still in object mode. Let's go S to scale. And then let's go S, Z, and flatten it on the Z. And then let's go S, X and scale it out on the X like so. And I'm just going to move mine in a little bit like so. This is going to be the cutter object for us, okay? So what we could do now is we can tab back out into object mode, and now we can go with this little cutter here. We can give that an array modifier. We can come here to the factor, set it to 0 on the X. Let's go to object offset, enable that, click the little eyedropper, and let's select this empty over here. And now we're going to come here to the number. Let's make this 22. Okay, and now we're going to grab our empty and we're going to go to our right orthographic view, and now we're going to go R, and we're just going to rotate this empty till these all kind of look even. So I'm going to go with something like that. Okay, and now we've got all of these little teeth. Now if that looks like it's too much, you can simply just select it. You can bring this number down. Let's maybe try something like 18. You could count these if you want. I'm not going to bother. Then just select your empty again and just rotate it in the right orthographic view just to adjust the spacing. So this is our offset. And then now you can just go into edit mode with this little cutter and just shape it. So I'm going to just go like this. Just make it a little bit more closer to what I see on the reference. And I might just select these two edges here and go Control B and give them a bevel. So we're just going to use this to cut out the little teeth essentially. So now I'm going to tab back out and I'm going to come here to the array. I'm going to come to the drop down and apply it. Now I'm going to select this little dial. And actually before I do that, what I'm actually going to do as well is there's one little detail here that I forgot to do. And you can see with the reference here, this is a little orange band that runs around. So let's just go into our right orthographic view. And in wireframe, let's just see if we can match that. So in my case, I'm just going to select this face and extrude it in a little bit more. Just so I have the right topology to select. And I'm going to select these two sets of faces like so. And I'm just going to go E to extrude and extrude them in like that. That's looking good. And I might just select this inside and extrude it in a bit. And then just select these two edges here in the outside. This is optional, and just go Control B. Just give them a little bit of a bevel just to round them out. And now we kind of have that little detail, but you don't have to add that in if you don't want to, okay? So now with that done, let's go ahead and give this guy a boolean. Click on a little eyedropper, and now let's select this cutter array. And let's come to the drop down and apply it. And now I can grab this cutter array and just go delete. And now we have this. So let's select it. Let's right click and go shade auto smooth. And let's select the watch and go right click and go shade auto smooth. And now it kind of fixes that weird shading. And now we have this complicated little bit kind of modeled, which is looking really good. So from here on, we're going to continue and we're going to be making the button and some of the little holes in the watch body. So first of all, let's just select the empty here and go X and delete. And let's go, while we still have our 3D cursor over here where we have it, let's just go Shift A. Let's add in a circle. We're going to go RY90 and press enter. I'm going to tab into edit mode. And let's go to vertex select and just go S and scale this down. And let's go into our right orthographic view. And we should be able to keep scaling it till it's about this big. And we're going to tab back out into object mode, and we're going to go G and we're going to go Z and bring it down till it matches the reference here. Then we're going to tab back in and let's just scale it up a bit. So we want to just match not the button, but kind of the cavity that it's sitting in. And let's select all of these bottom verts and let's go E to extrude and Z and extrude it down till it matches the reference. And let's just select these inside verts, these ones over here, as you can see, and go X and delete those verts. So we only have the edge. And let's go to our front view. Let's just go G and let's go X, move it out a bit. Then we're gonna go F to fill that. Then we're gonna go E to extrude and Y or X. So E to extrude and X, and just extrude it back in a little bit like so. And now we have another Boolean cutter. What we're gonna do, we're gonna select our watch and let's give that a Boolean. Let's click on the little eyedropper and then select this object. And then let's come to the drop down and apply that. So now if we select this button here, tab back in, A to select everything and go S to scale it down. Now we can see it sits nested inside of this kind of cavity here. So let's go to our right view and let's just scale it till it matches the button on the inside like that. So now obviously there's a few things we can do to make this look even better. Let's just select the inside face and let's go X and delete that face. And we can come here and select the outer edge and go Control B and give it a bevel. Roll the middle mouse button. And then in the front view, you can just go G, X and move that in till it matches the reference, like so. So now we have a button. Let's right click and go Shade Smooth. And that's looking really good. So we've made that bit as well. And now let's just go Shift A, add in another cylinder, S to scale it down. And this bit, I'm gonna do a little bit faster because we've already covered this now. So I'm just gonna rotate it on the Y, scale it down, and you guys have already kind of seen what we're doing here. We're just using this and using it as a Boolean cutter. So let's place it where these little holes are. And in the side view here, or the front view, I'm going to scale it on the X a little bit, just so it kind of is a bit longer. We make sure it's embedded in there. And then in the right view, what we might do here is just tab into edit mode with this guy, and then go Shift D to duplicate, and then go Z, bring it down to this one over here. And let's just select half of it and go E to extrude and Z, extrude it down. And then select this whole thing, go Shift D to duplicate and Z, we're still in edit mode. And let's move this one up to the top little hole here. And obviously with these two, what you're gonna have to do is select them both, scale them a bit on the X, and then go G, X, and move them in till they're kind of penetrating the watch body. Okay, so they're all part of the same object now. We're gonna tab back out. You can see they're all one object, and let's grab our watch body and let's give that a Boolean. Click on an eyedropper and then select this cutter. Now hopefully it's working. So if we come here to the drop down and we apply it, select our cutter and then press delete, we should be able to see that it's left these holes here now for us. So let's just select the whole watch body, right click and go Shade Auto Smooth, and now we've got those holes. So yeah, that's looking really cool. Let's now look at the other side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hide the front and right ortho reference and bring back the left. And now if you go Control free on the number pad or Command free number pad to go into the left orthographic view, we're seeing it from this side, right? Now, if you go into wireframe, you can see there are some details here as well. In fact, I'm just gonna quickly look here on the side so we can see it properly. So you can see we have some holes here and another button. So let's use the exact same technique we used before. Just gonna add in a circle, R, Y, 90. Let's go ahead and scale it down. And then let's bring it down and get it to match this button over here. And I'm gonna tab in, I'm just gonna extrude this half down to match the reference. And then, in fact, I'm gonna go back into object mode, just go G, X, and move the whole thing over on this side. Then I'm gonna go back into the left orthographic view. And let's just select these inside verts and go X and delete those vertices. Now we only have the edge. And let's go F to fill that. And you can see here it's matching our reference beautifully. And then let's just go E to extrude and X and extrude it into the watch body a little bit like so. Now all we have to do, select the watch body, give it a Boolean, click on an eyedropper and select that object to cut with. And hopefully it's cutting. So if you select it and go H, we can see that it's not working quite the way we want. So let's just select the watch body. Let's just maybe set this operation to fast. Still not what we want. Let's just set it back to exact. And we might have to go Alt H, bring our little cutter back, and then just go G, Y, and just go G, X and move it out a little bit. And let's hide it. And you can see for some reason it's not working the way we want. So I'm gonna go Alt H. And I'm gonna select the watch body again and maybe make it fast. And then just select the cutter object here and go G, X and kind of move it around, seeing if that fixes anything. So I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. I'm gonna for now just go about something like this. And I'm gonna grab the watch body and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it anyway. Tab back in here. Then I might just have to select this edge out here and then go X and delete those verts. But the only downside now is if I just hide this object here and go back into the watch body, we can see it's kind of hollow here. So what I'm gonna have to do is go around and kind of painstakingly select all of these edges here to extrude them in. So I'm just gonna go around. Maybe you guys didn't get the same problem, and if you didn't, that's really good. But unfortunately, that's what's happened to me now. So I'm just gonna have to go around like so. So I think I have them all selected. I'm gonna go E to extrude and X, extrude them in like so, and just leave it at that. Now I'm gonna tab back out. I'm gonna go Alt H to bring that back. And now we can just grab this cutter object and tab into edit mode, select the whole thing, scale it down a bit. And now in our left orthographic view, we can kind of have it matching that little button there. And then let's just give it a bevel here on the end. And then in our front orthographic view, let's just bring our front orthographic reference back. G, X, and let's move it in just a little bit like that. That's a little orange button there. So you can see that's what we got. Let's right click and go Shade Smooth. So now we've made that button there. And you can go ahead and do the Boolean operation and make a little inside detail, or we could just select this face and go I to inset it. And you can see that it has this little extra detail here if we bring that reference back. And you might be able to make that just by kind of bringing this in a little bit on the X and then insetting it again and then going G, X, bringing it in. Maybe give that a bit of a bevel, something like this maybe, just give it that extra detail like that. Obviously the reference is a little bit different. It's not quite like that, but you guys can mess around with it till you get it just perfect. But that's what I'm going to go with for now. And if you want to, just go back to the left orthographic. You can see there's these little speaker holes here. You can go ahead, just add in a cylinder and rotate it like we did before. At this point, it's a lot of repetition, as you can see. And anyway, you could just scale it down, move it up to kind of match what we see over here on the side. These little speaker holes, like so. And once you have that set up, you can just tab into edit mode and duplicate that to match the reference. Like that, and then just duplicate it. This is pretty self-explanatory at this point. That's why I'm just kind of doing it fast. But you guys kind of get the idea, and then we can just go grab the watch body again, just give that a Boolean, select these objects here, and hopefully that's worked. So if we hide this, we can see that's worked. So let's just select it and apply it. Alt H, just select these guys and just delete them. So now we have those little holes here. And you can see I missed one down here as well. Go ahead, add that if you want. I'm just gonna leave it at this for now. And I think what we're gonna do now is pretty much make the strap, but we're not gonna be modeling any of the straps you see here. We're gonna do something a little bit more simplistic. And we're also not gonna be making the little metal part, that kind of bracket that holds it, because not all of them come with that. So we're gonna kind of just go with more like a simple plastic strap with some simple buckles. But this has been the hard part, making the actual watch body. So let's go Shift A, let's add in a plane. And you can see at the moment, it's added in the wrong place because our 3D cursor is still here. So we're just gonna go Shift S and go cursor to world origin. And if this plane still selected, let's go Shift S and go selection to cursor. So now it's in the middle. I'm gonna tab into edit mode and let's go into the right orthographic view. And we're gonna go G, Z and move this up, and then S to scale it down. I'm gonna get the vertex select option, and I'm gonna go into wireframe, and I'm gonna select these two verts and place them over here, and then grab these two and place them here. And what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna extrude following the reference, and we're just gonna make a very simple strap here. I'm just using this as a rough guide, as you can see here, to kind of get the spacing correct. And let's just keep going. Something like this. And let's end over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to our modifiers. Let's give this a solidify. Let's give it some thickness, about this much. And then let's go ahead and give this a subdivision surface modifier to kind of smooth things out. Now you can put the subdiv modifier on top, like so, and then go and give it another subdiv modifier. And then that kind of smooths things out a little bit more, like this. I'm going to come in here, Control R, roll in 2 loops, and just go S, X, and just scale them to X a little bit just to tighten that up. But you can see this is what we have now, a very simple kind of strap. And the way you can kind of make this look a little bit better is by just coming in here and using your proportional editing. We can kind of match this by just bringing these elements in a little bit and down. So for me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select these verts over here, just the ones on the end. And I'm going to go S, X, and just scale them on the X, like so, just to create something like that. And all we have to do now is just grab this edge over here. And then in our right orthographic view, we can go Shift D to duplicate, bring it up here, and then we can just kind of make the rest of the strap. Let's just make it connected only under the proportional editing. And let's now go and just extrude, trying our best to kind of make it match the contour here. So we want it to make sense. We want the strap to kind of almost be touching here. Remember, the reference here is only a rough guide. So let's just keep extruding, bring it in like so. And then over here, I'm just gonna do things a little bit different, bringing it in a little bit more, and then bringing it up into the watch. And once again, I'm gonna go SX and just kind of scale it on the X a little bit. Kind of trying to match the top. So now we have the bottom band like that. Now what we can do is we can select this edge over here. We can go S to scale that down. Control R, add in a cut here, scale it up a little bit. Just kind of make it look nicer. And let's tab back out, right click and go shade smooth. So now we have a basic strap here. And let's make little buckles. So we're gonna go Shift A, let's add in a torus. Tab into edit mode and let's just grab half of it and go E to extrude and X, like so. Tab back out and let's just scale this guy down and just place it over here. And we can always go into edit mode and just move it up a little bit more to kind of match. But you guys kind of get the idea here. We're just making this little buckle here that we can kind of scale and rotate and make it match our reference. But we're gonna place it in a little bit more. So something like this. So just something that goes around. If you have to scale it a bit smaller and move it, just do it. And you can see there, that's looking quite good. Okay, sitting over there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here, Shift D to duplicate. Let's make another one, slightly rotate it, move it down. And now we have that over there. And you could come in here, add a little strap going around, add some more details, but I wanna keep it really simple because the main focus here, of course, was the watch itself. So let's go ahead and save. I might just do one more thing just for extra detail. Control R, add in a loop here. Control R, add one in here. And let's just turn off proportional editing and just select these two edges. Control B to create a bevel. And then just select these two edges and then these two edges and then go Control B, roll the middle mouse button and then go Control minus to shrink the selection. And then just go Alt S and scale it in a little bit. And that just creates a little bit of extra detail like that. You might just have to come here on the end though, where we have these guys over here. And just grow the selection here. And then just come to your smooth tool and just smooth that out. So it looks a little bit better. And now that's looking fantastic. So now I think we have something that we can kind of work with, something that we can be proud of. Always mess around with it till you get it to your liking. But that's what I'm gonna go with now, keeping it really super simple. So now let's turn off the reference, both of them. So we've got all these objects here and let's go to our front view. Shift A, let's add in a light. Let's make it an area light and move it up. Let's go to our render settings. Let's make sure it cycles. We're gonna change the device to GPU. Only do that if you have a GPU. And then we're gonna go to the render max samples and let's make it 70. And now we can go Z and we can go rendered. And also under my render settings, I'm just gonna go down to the film. And under this, I'm gonna make it transparent. So now you can scale your light and you can come here to your light settings and give it a strength that you feel is adequate for your model. So for me, 120 looks good at the moment. I'm gonna go Shift D to duplicate, have another light coming from the side. Shift D to duplicate, have another one coming over here. And maybe Shift D to duplicate, let's have one coming from underneath and kind of a little bit from the back, like so. So now we have some nice lighting on our watch. And now let's actually select the watch body. Let's go over to our materials, go new, let's call it watch. And then body. And let's come to the base color. Let's make it something like a sandy kind of color. Let's make it metallic and let's bring the roughness down a little bit. And now if we go Z and we go rendered, we can see this is what we have. It kind of looks a bit like brass or copper. Might make it a little bit less saturated and up the roughness just a bit. So something like that. And what I'm going to do now is select all the other little objects and give it that same watch body. Everything that kind of matches the reference. But with this dial here selected still, let's just quickly tab in. Let's just select a loop of verts here and go Control plus, just to grow the selection. And let's come give that a new material over here in edit mode and assign it. And let's just call it band or the inner material. And let's just come to the base color here and give it nice saturated orange. And just so we can see, I'm gonna go to the viewport display and make it orange as well. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. And at the moment it's added it in here as well, which I don't actually mind too much. It actually looks pretty cool. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Or maybe I won't. Now that I look at it, it looks a bit weird. So I'm just going to go Control I to inverse the selection. So everything else is selected, and then just assign that watch body. So it's only in the inside here like that. So now let's grab this button here. Let's give it the watch body as well. And then we're going to select the actual screen here. And let's just go new and call it screen. And let's go to our surface. Let's go to the base color and give it an image texture. Come to the drop down and let's get the reference, which should already be in here. So now if you go to your UV editing, you press A to select all of this over here, and you go U and you go project from view. You can come over here and line that up. And if you go Z and you go material preview, you should be able to see it. So I'm gonna just try and line up the texture over here. And now we have our watch face over here as well, which is really cool. And that really matches our reference. We're also just gonna select the button on the side here. Let's just go to the drop down, give it that same inner material. And let's just make that metallic, by the way, and bring down the roughness a little bit. Maybe make it a little less saturated. So something like that. Okay, that's looking really good. And now let's just select this band over here. Let's just go new and let's make this a nice kind of orange color. And for now we can leave the settings as they are. Let's just select these little band or little holders over here, little metal brackets. Let's just give them the watch body material just to match the watch. I think that looks pretty cool. And if you wanted to, you could select the actual strap inside part here and give that another material optionally. So maybe like a white band or something. You can see over here I've accidentally selected more than I wanted to. So I'm just gonna assign it back like that. So just having a band running here in the middle, and you could always kind of grab that and make it a different color. So maybe like a more saturated orange. Mess around with the roughness. Maybe make it a bit darker. Whatever you guys feel works for your design. You know, come up with something cool. Add some texture, some roughness if you want. But to keep things simple, this is where I'm going to leave it at. So let's just go to our layout again here. Let's just go Shift A, add in a camera. And then you're going to just get a camera position that you like. And for now, let's go to our output settings and make it 1920 by 1920. And you can kind of just adjust the camera however you want. You can get a position that you like. So this is kind of the fun part where you guys can find something that you think works really well for you. So I'm going to go with something like that. And by the way, with the glass here, the screen, let's just go to that screen material. And let's just go down to the roughness and bring it all the way down to 0. So now we have a reflective screen. So that's looking pretty good. Make sure to save. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more. And I'm going to go Shift A, just quickly add in an empty as a cube. And I'm going to just bring it forward a bit and scale it. And what we're going to do here is something really cool. We're going to grab our camera. We're going to give it a depth of field and then select that empty. Now if we can go Z and rendered, we can bring this f-stop value down till we get this nice soft focus. So it's kind of only focusing towards the front of the watch here. Mess around with that f-stop until you kind of like it. So I'm going to go with something like that. And now we can save and let's go render and render the image. And there we have it. That is a really satisfying looking product render. And we made it pretty simply using some basic modeling techniques. I will be uploading this final result to my Patreon, so check that out in the description below. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this one. This one took me quite a while to make. There was a lot of planning involved, but you know, it came out pretty good and I'm kind of happy with the result. So I'll see you guys next time for another Blender tutorial.